So this is what's on the build plate for my 3D printer. This is interesting. 3 dimensions. How do we do that? Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, September the 16th, 2024, and it is vlog number 376. So, what have I been up to? Lots of things. Let's jump right in, shall we? So, first of all, what I want to show you is what I've been working on. These are all the blocks now for Stephanie Stitch's Cozy Star quilt. Just got the last 2 blocks done. They're here on the bottom row. And now, this week, I am going to cut out the sashing and get this quilt all put together. So, yeah, I'm excited about that because I think this is going to be a beautiful quilt. Now, the way these blocks are right now is not the way they're going to be arranged in the final quilt. Okay, more about that tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And then I created this just for fun. Hangs in my sewing room, and it says my sewing room. And this was an In the Hoop project, and I like the colors in it, and I think it's kind of fun. And yeah, more about that on Idiot Quilter tomorrow as well. And this one I finished up on Sunday morning, and it's now sitting upstairs on my coffee table in my family room, as you can see in this picture. That's a glass coffee table, and it fits perfectly there, and it looks really nice, and it goes with sort of the color scheme of the room as well. Not that I really care about that too much, because I don't think everything has to be matchy-matchy, but I really like the way this turned out, and it was an In the Hoop project as well. And again, more about that tomorrow in the Idiot Quilter. Okay, so that takes me to YouTube channel of the week. And you know, I love my toys and I love 3D printers, but there is another toy I would like to get my hands on, but there's so many reasons why I don't own one of these. One, the expense. They are a very, very pricey item, $5,000+ for what I'm looking at. 2, they need to be vented, which is a problem. 3, they're huge, and you need a space for them. What am I talking about? I'm talking about laser engravers, and there's so much I think you could do with them. Well, I just found a review of a laser engraver that's basically desktop, and it's very affordable, very tiny. It only does a few limited things, and I'm not planning on getting one, but I thought this was really interesting and is a great indication of where technology is going in these kind of devices. So here's my review of that video clip. This week's YouTube video clip is one to do with, of course, technology. And you know how much I love my 3D printers, and I love all of my different pieces of technology I use in my quilt making. Well, here's one that I would like to get eventually. Not this particular one, but this is very intriguing. And it's a laser engraving machine. Now, there's a lot of things you can do with laser engraving machines, and a lot of them are extremely expensive. But this one is a small one, so you'd be limited on the size that you could engrave, but it's very affordable, and it's basically a desktop machine. I found this video review of this particular device very intriguing. Now, does that mean I want to buy one? No, but it does make me want to explore the possibilities further. And if you're somebody that's kind of interested in laser engraving, but you find the entry-level machines just too much for you to spend on, then you might want to check this very affordable option as well as an intro to laser engraving. So if you're interested in those kind of gadgets, you're going to want to check out that video clip. Also, in my show notes, you're going to find a link, as always. It's a permanent link to Stephanie and Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. And Stephanie's back. So she'll be there on Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so if you're new to my channel, if you've never heard of this or you've been hesitant to join us, don't be hesitant. We don't bite unless you want us to. and everybody's extremely supportive, and it's a lot of fun. And you don't have to be there all day. It's come and go as you please. So check us out. What's the worst thing that can happen? You don't like it. Okay, so don't come back. Easy. Okay, you'll find links to all of my friends' channels: Stephanie Stitches, Russ of Quilt Meets World, Shannon of Slay Arts, Sean of The Guy Who Sews, and of course Adam from Adam Sews. So do check out their channels if you haven't already. Oodles of information. There's a word, oodles. Oodles of noodles. Whatever. Okay, other links. Well, there's links to the video that I've created about my retreat that's coming up in early October, about mid-October, October the 19th. You really do want, if you're interested in coming to the virtual retreat in the fall, you do want to check that video out if you haven't already, because all the details are there, and it is a free event, but you do need to register for it. So all that information is in that video. Check it out. And of course, there's a link to all my past videos I've created in the past week. Okay, so let's take a look at what things are looking like outside. And here we are. It's early. When I took this picture, it was about 6:45 in the morning, so sun's still coming up. Days are getting a little shorter, but it looks like it's going to be very pleasant. And according to the weather, right now it's 16 degrees C, which is not hot, not cold, just right. Goldilocks weather. And a high of 27 though. And I think this week is supposed to be hot, and it is. When I'm looking at it, today is the high of 27, and then we stay in the high 20s until towards the weekend, and then it drops down again. And not that much though, to very comfortable temperatures, 24, 22, 21. So yeah, and no rain in the forecast for this week. So it looks like it's going to be a very pleasant pre-fall week, because this technically on the calendar is our last week of summer. Boo. But anyways, okay. Oh, and by the way, just a little aside, while I have this particular screen up, you'll notice that my little picture-in-picture, I have a little color border going around that. Something new I've discovered that I can do in my OBS program, and it just kind of separates that image from the main image, and that's why I'm using it. And besides, it's fun, and I'm all about fun. Okay, all about fun, but what's pissing me off this week? Let's talk about Amazon, shall we? Actually, I'm not pissed off with Amazon. I'm very happy with Amazon. Now, I know that Amazon comes under a lot of attack. People love to hate Amazon. But let's face it, the world was a different place when it came to ordering online before Amazon, wasn't it? I mean, we had to depend upon snail mail to get parcels. That took forever, at least here in Canada it did. Our postal service, oh, how do you put it mildly, sucks. Yeah, but I hear that it sucks in the States as well and in England. So I have a feeling this is a common problem. Part of the reason why conventional methods of getting products may suck is because of Amazon. Amazon has had a tremendous influence, as we know, on how we order, how we buy things, how we order them, how we receive them. But I have to say, Amazon does it very efficiently. So one of the things that I like about Amazon, though, is not just the speed of delivery, which we're now spoiled with. If we don't get something within 2 days from any other organization, we hate them. Their selection is very, very good as well. And prices. Now, you do have to be buyer beware, because not everything on Amazon is a good price. You need to know your prices. But 9 times out of 10, it's in a range you can live with. But the thing I want to talk a little bit about today, which is not really being pissed off, it's very delighted, is customer service. Now, this ties into my 3D printers. I bought a spool of filament from Amazon. In fact, I buy all my filament from Amazon. They have a good selection, reputable companies, never had a problem with it until recently. I bought a spool of filament for the 3D printer. I went, installed it onto the printer, printed away merrily, and then I tried to get the print off my bed. It wouldn't come off. Now, I have used this particular brand of filament many, many times before, and it is a special kind of filament because it has two-tone colors, and you'll see an example of that actually a little later on in today's show. But I've shown you that before where, when the light hits it in a certain way, it turns this color. When it hits it in another way, it turns into a different color, kind of a thing. I love that filament. I love the effect, and I've used a lot of it. I've ordered a lot of it over the past, year or so. Never a problem. But this particular one stuck to the bed to the point where when I finally got the print off, it left residue, and I could not, for the life of me, no matter what I tried, short of sandblasting, could I get that off. I researched on the internet how to get off stubborn PLA, because that's what the plastic is called. I found some different things, but they didn't work. One was to wash it really well with soap and water. Did that. Didn't come off. I even had a little like scrubby, one of those ones that's non-abrasive, but has the rough edges. In fact, I clean my beds on my printers regularly using soap and water and one of these scrubbies. Never a problem. Everything comes up nice and clean. But this one wouldn't get it off. I read another thing that said use rubbing alcohol. Well, yeah, I have cleaned my beds with rubbing alcohol before because, when you're handling them, the oil from your hands gets on it, and that can cause the opposite to the problem I'm having, meaning that your prints won't stick. So that's a problem. So I tried rubbing alcohol, and I rubbed and I rubbed, and I put more rubbing alcohol on, and eventually, well, nothing happened there. I didn't want to scrape it. Well, I did try scraping it, trying to be very careful. I didn't want to mark up the surface of the bed. That didn't do it. This stuff would not come off. So I did some more research. I tried paint thinner. Filled the house full of fumes, not good. Didn't do a thing. Then I read about acetone. Stuff you used to take your fingernail polish off and everything else. Didn't have any of that. Got a jug of it. Put it in a metal tray. Filled the metal tray with acetate. Put the bed in the tray and let it sit there for 5, 10, 15, half an hour, soaking away. Nope. Would not take it off. Again, filled the house full of fumes. Yeah, not good. So, one more thing I read said, heat your bed up to a high temperature and then go at it with rubbing alcohol. That did work, but it was a lot of work. And in the meantime, because I'd used acetone on this thing, guess what else was coming off? The protective surface of the plate. That's not good. Now, I can still use the plate, but I didn't like that. So I have a new one on order. The ironic part was this was a new one. I've only had it for about a week. I was furious. I tried other filaments that I had in my supply, once by the same company that made this filament, and I didn't have a problem at all. So I'm thinking something went wrong with this batch of filament, some kind of chemical thing, and that's why it's bonding to the bed. So I went on Amazon because, with Amazon, you can put in complaints, but I couldn't find a spot where I could do it. And they move those around a lot. That's one thing I've got against Amazon. You got to hunt to, find if you need to complain about something. And they move it around, and it can be very frustrating. So what I did find, though, was the web information for the company. So of the actual company that manufactured the filament. So I wrote to them. I didn't expect that they would answer, and it took them a day or two, and I did get an answer, and the answer was not a good answer. It says, oh, well, contact the seller. Well, you're the manufacturer. Why can't you deal with it? Now, they are a Chinese company, but then what isn't, right? So I went back onto Amazon, and the seller, there was no place to contact the seller. I did, so I decided, okay, let's return it. So I went into Amazon's return, and no problem. You write why you want to return something, and then they've got various methods for returning things. Now, I have returned things, not very often, but I have returned things to Amazon before. And usually you print out a shipping label or a return label, you box up your product, you take it down to the local, here in my area, to the local perlator carrier, and they take it back to Amazon, and it doesn't cost you anything for that. And once Amazon receives it, you usually get a refund. Okay, but there's another method they have that I don't know if this is new, but I've never used it before. I think it's been around for a while, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Where there's another company that actually comes to your door and picks the parcel up and takes it off. It costs you nothing. They even say you don't need to worry about boxing out. They'll look after that. There is a little thing you print out that Amazon has a link to, and you print that out, and away you go. So I thought I'd give it a try. It works like a charm. It took about a day for the guy to get here and pick it up, but he did. He picked it up, and away he went. And right after he picked it up, I got a notification from Amazon that they had credited my account for the amount of that filament. Easy peasy. So if I ever have another problem again, I won't hesitate to use that method. And again, that's another thing that regular brick and mortar stores or other companies online could learn from. Sure, that costs Amazon money, and they're a huge corporation, so they can probably absorb that with no problem. And they probably go back after the seller anyways to recoup their costs. But from a consumer's point of view, from my point of view, I got a refund. I was able to send the stuff back. It was easy to do. Great. Wonderful. So I'm a happy camper when it comes to Amazon. And yeah, I know what all the arguments are against Amazon, but I am not one of those people. I love Amazon. I'm sorry if that makes me a horrible person. So be it. I can live with that. I can live with people's judgment. But Amazon is the way to go as far as I'm concerned. And I did buy some things off of Amazon this week too, which I will show you in a moment. Wait, when am I going to show that to you? Oh, in a moment. But first, let's talk about the grow lights in the gardening. Season's over. I don't have any pictures to show you because there's nothing to show you. The plants are dead. Well, pretty close to dead. We still have some lettuce. Need to eat that. I think there may be a pepper, a red pepper out on the vine, but everything else, nope. And it's sad. It's sad. So I don't know. I may not be doing much of a segment on what I've got growing until we get things under the grow lights again and get that all up and running. Okay, so that brings me back to Amazon and new products. So I explained to you about, the return, which was really easy, but there was something else that I wanted, and this is tied in with my 3D printing, which I will talk about momentarily. And let me see here. Let me find what it was that I bought. Yeah, here we go. Okay, you'll laugh at this. I'm all about high tech. And one of the things I like about high tech is automation. I don't want to have to remember to flick on and flick off light switches or turn things on and turn them off. Okay, call me lazy. But I like that. This room is completely powered by my Echo. I tell Echo to turn on my lights come on. See this light just above my head, this side? Echo, fabric light on.
Okay.
Echo, fabric light off.
Okay.
Echo, lights off.
Okay.
Echo, lights on.
Okay.
Echo, fabric light off.
Okay.
Now, you may wonder why I called that fabric light. Well, it's because it's over top of my pressing thing. I gave all the lights names so I can manage them all individually. And there's a lot of lights in this room, or all at once, as you saw. I love that. I love that. I would like to actually eventually get, there is one light set which you can't see right now. It's above my head. There's a track light in here, and that's on right now, but it is run by a conventional switch. But you can get and wire into the switch box a switch that Echo can control. Okay. Am I lazy? Yeah, probably. But I was always taught when you leave a room, turn off the light. Walter was not. No, I always know where he's been in the house because I just follow the lights that are on when there's nobody in that room. And I'm constantly going behind him and turning off lights. It's just something that was ingrained in me as a kid. It's one of those habits I can't break, right? And I don't think it's necessarily a bad habit. But back to automation. So I've been making some things for Halloween on my 3D printer, and they will light up. But they take little tea lights. And, you know, the little battery-powered tea lights, those kind of things, not the ones you actually burn. I don't burn real candles at all because, well, basically it's a safety thing. And, you know, at my age, when you start to think about or forget about things, leaving a candle burning all night long might not be a good thing. So I have electric ones. And I have a set, but they're ones that take batteries and you have to flick the little switch on. Now, I use a lot of these kind of lights for Christmas displays, Halloween displays, things like that. And so ideally, I want my little tea lights, my little candle tea lights, to turn on and turn off on their own, like on a timer and with a remote control that I can use. So I went hunting for these. I knew they existed. And then I remembered why I hadn't bought any in the past. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So I looked on Amazon, and these are 12. They have remote control and they're rechargeable. And they're expensive. $37.99. I don't know if I want to spend $37.99. I looked on Temu and I wasn't getting any better prices either for that. But then for some reason, luck was in my favor because I got contacted to do a survey over the weekend. And they said if I completed the survey, I'd get $30 in gift cards. And it turned out to be $30 in a gift card for Amazon. So 20 minutes of my life, I got $30 off. I immediately took it and applied it to these candles. So bonus. And they came yesterday and they are great. They charge up. And if you look here at the bottom of the picture, I wonder if there's a better picture. Yeah, they have this connection that goes in the back of them, and 6 of the candles can be charged from one USB connector. And there was 2 sets of these because there's 12 candles. Brilliant. Look like a little chandelier if you hang on to the top of them. And so far, I'm impressed. Not only do they run from remote control, but you can set them so they'll turn on. They'll stay on for 4 hours and be off for what's 4 from 5? 20 hours. Or you can turn them so they'll come on for 6 hours and go off for 18. And the one thing that, and I've had these kind of lights before where you do this, you hit the button for it. I would rather have a more sophisticated system where I could actually physically set the time of day when I want them on and off. But nevertheless, this serves the purpose. So, you know, probably when I do use these, set them up, I will turn them on at 6 in the evening using the 6-hour button. And by the time I've gone to bed, midnight that night, they'll go off and they'll come on at 6 in the evening. again the next day. Yeah. So I'm happy about these. I like them. You may laugh at me, but they are great. And I'm going to show you what I use them for. And that has to do with 3D printing. And I love printing things for Halloween. I'm just trying to get my pictures set up here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, first of all, and I was talking about that filament. And now I'm talking here, can I 3D print that effing thing? And I've got something really interesting to show you in a moment. But in the meantime, my ghouls or my phantoms. These I printed in several different filaments, and I print them in 3 different sizes. And I love them. And the beauty of these are, you can see they're sitting on the edge of my little toolbox. That's what they're designed for. I'm going to put these up on my mantelpiece with some of those lights, or I've got a string of the little fairy lights in behind as part of my Halloween display when I get all the decorations out. So that's, and especially the one in the middle, that's a really fun filament. I love how that came out with it. So they're fun. They're not really that ghoulish. That's okay. I think they're pretty. I really do. That's why I don't want to show you that yet. Now this is what I bought the tea lights for. This little guy. And one goes in his head, and then he's hollow, and you put the other tea light up in his body, and his little eyes glow in the dark. And that is what I wanted the tea lights for specifically. I'm going to use them for other things too, but I think this looks really cool, and I think it's going to make a neat display at Halloween time. Okay, now I said there was another thing that I made, and here it is. This looks like a cabinet from a Dr. Seuss book, doesn't it? I saw this on one of the YouTube channels I watch about 3D printing, and this I thought was really quite cool. The drawers work. I'll show you. I have some of the drawers opened up here in the knobs. And am I going to use it? Yeah, I am going to use it. I'm going to put paper clips and push pins in it and that kind of thing. And it's going to sit by my desk here. I just think it's really fun. And I was really impressed that it actually printed, because I thought I would have some problems with it. Well, I really didn't. So, yeah. Okay, you're going to say, oh, yeah, that's kind of fun to see, but really? Yeah, really. Really. Yeah. Okay. So, that takes me to, so when I talk about printing these things, I thought you might find it interesting to see what the software does that creates the file that you put into the 3D printer to make these things. It's called a slicer. So I did a little video that I'm going to insert here so you can see how that works. So I thought I'd show you how I go about preparing any kind of 3D model that I have downloaded to suit my purposes. The first thing you have to do when you're making a 3D print is you have to put it through a slicer program, and there are quite a few of them out there. I use Cura. Cura is one that's made by Ultimaker, and it comes with the Creality printer line. And this is the one I'm most familiar with. So the first thing I have to do, you can see I have an image of what my build plate looks like on my 3D printer, a mock-up of it, and I need to load up the model on here so I can adjust it. Now, I've already loaded this model before, but I do want to revise it. So instead of just going to the open file, which I could do, and pull up an STL, that's the extension for these kind of models that you can slice, I'm just going to pick up from the recent files, and I'm going to pick up this one, Sitting Phantom. Sitting Phantom. Yes, little Halloween thing here. So there it is. But there's some problems with this image. As you can see, he's sitting in midair. If I was to slice this and print it as it is, I'm just going to get spaghetti in here because there's nothing happening in this area. So when it got to this area to start printing it, it would just be shooting filament into space. And that's what we call spaghetti. So what I want to do is reorientate or orientate this image so that I can print it. Now I know from experience that the best way to do this is to lay it on its side. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to go over to the control panel here, and I'm going to take or select the button that says rotate. And now I have all these little things that are all around this for the 3 different ways that I can rotate it. And I'm just going to rotate it to its side. So I'm going to click on this one and put that there. Okay, now if we take a closer look at it though, it is still semi-floating in the air. So I want to get this part to touch the plate. So I'm going to go here to bottom, and I'm not going to say auto because that's just going to flip it. For some reason, it'll flip it right back to where it was the first time before I flipped it. But I'm going to go into this drop-down menu and say place on printer bed. And it is as close to the printer bed as it can get. But you see, I have a lot of space here, and that's going to cause me grief. So I'm going to go into the settings, and I'm going to put in some supports. In other words, I'm going to fill in that space by putting in what they call a tree support, which is just branches basically of plastic that will hold the model up as it is printing. So it's already set up for that because I had done this before. And I'm just going to save it. And you don't see anything at the moment, but we'll come back to that. The other thing I want to do is I want to enlarge this because I printed one already and it's a little small. So I'm going to go up here to, I'll click on it first. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Okay, if I make a mistake, just go to Edit, Undo. Okay, that puts it back where I want. And I'm going to go to Scale. And up in here, I can do it by percentage or actual millimeter size. I'm going to do it by percentage, and I'm going to double the size. There we go. I'm going to try that and see how that works out. Now, I'm still on the plate. I have supports. So I'm going to slice this now. And it takes it a minute to do it, and there could be some flickering of my screen here because, yeah, sorry about that. Warning, if you have strobe-like effect, you're going to, like, look away now, because this, for some reason, is a bug in this version of Cura, and it has been, the company has been told about this bug, and they haven't fixed it yet. And I think it only happens on Mac computers, and that's what I'm on, not on Windows computers. So you can see up at the top, it's saying it's generating support area. You don't see any of this. It's doing it in the background. But once it finishes this, it'll go into preview, and it will show you what this is going to look like as it's being printed on the build plate bed of the printer. Now, I use Creality Ender 3 version 3 KE printers. I love those printers. You've heard me talk about them before, and I'm slowly but surely replacing my 5 printers with this newer model. I just find it's less difficult to use and to set up. I don't have to do a lot of fine-tuning or finagling like I'd had to do with the others. Now that it's finished building the supports, it's going in and it's generating what's called a G code for the layers. And the G code is basically a computer language that the printer can read, and it knows where it needs to lay down filament on each layer. So when it gets finished this, we'll see, okay, so here's what it all looks like. Now, disregard the color. The colors are set up so that, you know, the red here is the model itself, but those little blue things, those branches, those are the supports, and those are easily pulled off the final version. But as I said, without those, then this model isn't going to print. So all I have to do now is just export it to my computer, then copy it to my USB drive, put it in the printer, and print it. And I'll show you the end result when that happens.
And here's the end result of that slicer after I put them on the 3D printer. And I went back into the slicer and made them into 3 different sizes. And I'm using multicolored filament on here, and I think they look fantastic. Kind of ghoulish in a fun way, and they're going to look great sitting on my mantel piece upstairs in my living room during the Halloween season when I get everything out to decorate.
Okay, enough about 3D printing. I could go on and on and on, and I often do. So, blast from the past. Well, doing a little flip here. Back in my paper crafting days, this was a baby album that I created, my own design. And, you know, as a quilter, people often make quilts for babies, you know, on the birth of a new baby kind of a thing, as a gift kind of thing. I have yet to make a baby quilt. I just refuse to make a baby quilt. Of course, at my age, everybody I know is my age too. They're not having babies. Grandchildren, maybe, but I don't care. Not my kid. But, and actually, as an aside, having said that, and I'll talk more about it tomorrow, it was my niece's 30th birthday yesterday, and we were at my sister's for a family dinner with her. And so I had a quilt that I gave her as well. She already has one of my quilts, but I thought she'd like another one, and she seemed to love it. I'll talk about that tomorrow on Idiot Quilter. But that's as close as I get to giving a baby quilt to somebody, and she's not a baby at 30. So, yeah. So anyways, before I was a quilter, I made things, you know, journals and things like that, and this is one of those journals, and it's a baby album.
Hi and Merry Christmas. It's Stephen at Bland Designs. Haven't made a video in a while, but here's something I want to share with you that I have been working on. Actually, haven't been working on this one for very long. This one it's only taken me half a day to make. I started it this morning at about 9 o'clock, and it's now about 1:30 in the afternoon, and I just completed it. I'm going to be doing a workshop at my local scrapbooking store, Class Act in Oshawa, in February, on February the 1st. So anybody out there who watches my videos that may be from the area, you might want to call up Class Act and find out about the workshop, because essentially we're going to be making this type of album. Now there's some variations and some stamping involved on the other one that I'm going to be creating. This one doesn't involve that. What this is I've created a baby album, actually. But this is for a brand new member to my family. She's my great niece, Brooke. She was just born a week ago. And the pictures that I have included in this album all came off of Facebook from her aunt's page. So I thought I'd share this with you. So it's a very simple one. Now this is the type of album that you make using the envelope punch board by We Are Memory Makers, and there's several different videos out there on how to do that, so you can look that up. And it really does create a really nice little book very fast. So you can see here on the cover, I printed her name out using my Cricut. Brooke is her name. And I just used some Prima flowers and some die-cut butterflies that I raised with pop dots on either side of that. And of course, a bow to hold it all together at the front. So let's open it up and take a look inside. So, inside, you can see these are the pictures I printed off the internet. I mounted them, double mounted them, so there's a piece of off-white cardstock and a piece of black cardstock backing each of the pictures. I kept them in neutral colors because the paper I've used is somewhat muted. It's a floral vintage type of paper. I went around the edges of each piece of paper that's on here with a black ink and an applicator. And I also went on to the internet and I found some little tags or things that are vintage. And I used Photoshop to cut them down and place them in a vertical setup. So there's a possibility here that if this book is going to go to Brooke's grandmother, she can just write a few little notes on either side here. Now, the pages are all very much similar. Same idea, slightly different journaling tags. And the interior of the booklet has 6 pages, so it's not huge. However, having said that, this also has little pull-out folders, as you can see. And these, again, were made using the We Are Memory Makers envelope punch board. Again, you can go online. You can find instructions for how to do this. I am going to put together a fairly lengthy video of the workshop that I'm doing on February the 1st, showing you how I make the whole album from beginning to end. But for now, you get just a taste of it. You notice on the folders, they come out actually like this. I've got them sideways. I've put another place for journaling. These were actually tags that came from the Smashbook series. And you know me and my scanner, I tend to scan things. So I scanned these and put them in Photoshop and put them to the size that I want it for my little file folders in here. So another place for journaling. Inside, there's more room for more pictures. And I had a few, isn't she cute? I had places here for a few more pictures. So I did the same thing. I mounted them the same way. They're the same size. And as time goes by and they get some more pictures of Brooke, they can just stick them in here inside these little file folders. And if they want, there's spots on the back here I've left blank on purpose so that if they want to journal some more or they want to put a picture there, they can do that. And they can put pictures, actually glue pictures on the inside of each one of these little folders as well. There are 4 pockets, so 4 folders in each case, and they just slide in there. Now they're meant to hang out over the edges a little bit because I like that look. Maybe you don't like that look, you can stick them in further if you don't. So really, this only took me, what, 4 hours to make. It was very quick, from beginning to end, completely from scratch, and I think it's going to make a really nice gift for the grandmother. So, having said that, I'm hoping all of this video, I usually take my videos in one shot, as you can tell. I'm hoping that it's all in the shot.
Okay, so that takes me to events in the past week. This was a really busy weekend for sewing. I had a pop-up sew day on Saturday, and we had about 30-some people at the height of it, and that was great. I got a lot of things done. I think other people got a lot of things done, and yes, we enabled each other, and I think there were some purchases made as well. And then on Sunday, Russ of Quilt Meets World had his inaugural shenanigans sew day, as he calls it. Russ is an old soul with some of the wording he uses. Shenanigans. Who would have thought? But it's kind of a fun word. Anyways, that went over pretty good. He had about 30 at the height of it as well. And I know he's got another one planned for in the future, and he's planning to do them on Sundays so that we don't conflict with each other. I always do my pop-up sew days on a Saturday. But anyways, yeah, he's got another one coming up soon, but I'm not going to say any more about it because that's for us to tell the world about. So yeah, we had good time in both cases. I got a lot done. And then this past week, we bought some very expensive new toys. Of course, Apple came out with their new iPhone 16 and Series 10 iWatches, and yes, I have a Series 6 iWatch. It's time for a new one. And I have an i14 iPhone. Time for a new one. So Walter and I bought new phones, and we bought new watches, and then we bought, a screen protector for the new phone and a new case and all that stuff. Yes, they're expensive. Especially the model I bought. Well, we both bought i16 Pros, but I also upgraded my memory from 256 to 512. So yeah, gigabytes. I use my phone a lot for editing videos and things, especially when we're on the road, we're on trips, and there are many times when the phone, my existing phone, cannot handle the load for that. So yeah, but I'm excited to get it. They're supposed to come, the watch and the phone are supposed to arrive on Friday. We'll see if that happens. And I'm trading my old phone in. We looked at Apple will take your old products, but they do an assessment of how much they're going to give you for it. It worked out with the iWatch. It's only going to get $75. So I've decided I'm not, it's not worth the hassle for $75. And when I was over at my sister's, I said to her, would you like an iWatch? Because she has an iPhone. She has a Fitbit. She's had it since 2014. I said, hello, come into this decade. All right, a Fitbit. I said, an iWatch does all of that and more. So kind of talked her into it. So as soon as my new one comes, I'm giving her this one. And then she can have hours of fun playing with that. And I know once she gets used to wearing it and has it around, she'll never go back to the Fitbit. And if she does, I'm going to call her an old lady. on it. It's like my mother was. Well, not my cup of tea. We talked about that kind of thing yesterday, actually, on Stephen and Walter Live. If you didn't see it, check it out. So, yeah. So excited about that. But I am trading in the iPhone. Originally, I was going to hang on to it. I have an iPhone 10 that I do use, but I use it basically as a remote for on sew days. It sits over by my sewing machine in a stand, along with an iPad that's over there, so that if I'm sewing and I need to let people in on my Zoom or switch my cameras, I can do it there from the iPhone. Here at my desk, I have a desk model of something that's called an Elgato Stream Deck, and I program the buttons and I can switch all over the place in here. And you've seen me do that. That's when I'm reaching over there and pushing a button, something changes on your screen, you know, like this. Well, that's what I'm talking about. But when we did the assessment, they're giving me back about $600 for my old iPhone. So I thought, yeah, because, and I'll be right up front about how much money I just spent for this stuff. It's over $3,000. We buy our phones outright. We do not buy them from a phone provider and pay monthly on them. No. Yes, it's a big amount of money initially to put out, but we are beholden to nobody and we don't sign contracts. We don't like that. And you end up paying more for the phone in the long run if you do that. So yeah, but without the trade-in, on my credit card, I have almost $2,500 for my phone. And I have another 700 and something for my iWatch. That includes Apple Care as well, because I always get the Apple Care. I'm telling you, if you buy an iPhone or an iWatch, it is worth the money to get Apple Care. I used it once. I had a problem. My phone was overheating, like ready to blow up kind of a thing. I took it into an Apple store because I had Apple Care. There was absolutely no problem. Their service is very good too. So anyways, yeah. So it's a lot of money. But you want to know something? I want it. I'm getting it. I use my iPhone all the time as a computer. Always with me. A mobile computer. I don't call people. I don't get calls. I get texts, you know, kind of thing. But no, that's not my principal use of an iPhone. My principal use of an iPhone is for video taking, editing, picture taking, and, you know, checking email, going on the internet, everything like that. So yeah, it is a computer in your pocket, and yeah, it's pricey. But I love it. So, and I don't justify it. I don't make any excuses. I'm getting it. So I'll show it to you when I get it. Okay, so anything else new in the past week? Not really. What's coming up? Well, of course, the Idiot Quilter Fall Retreat is approaching. Registration, if you haven't seen the video already or gotten the long little epistle that I wrote and sent out to everybody on my mailing list, I start accepting registration on Saturday, October the 5th at 9 a.m. in the morning. Do not try to register before that time and date because I'll ignore it. Try to make it fair because it fills up very quickly. I can only handle 90 some people and it fills up. So, yeah. So you snooze, you lose. Yeah, it's simple as that. Okay, so everything, as I said, you need to know about that is in the little video that I made, and there's a link for it in the show notes, so check that out. Okay, I think that's it for me today. I hope you have a great week and come back tomorrow for the Idiot Quilter. We'll see you later. Bye for now.